On Friday, 21 March 2025, Human Rights Day in South Africa, Julius Malema, leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, saw it fit to appear on stage and once again sing the hateful "Kill the Boer" chant at the top of his lungs. On this very Human Rights Day, a farmer was murdered near Tabanchu in the Free State province. In 2023, AfriForum broke the news that there had been a farm attack on a couple from Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. They were seriously assaulted on their farm while their attackers shouted, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." The female victim was stabbed with a spear but luckily survived the attack. Thanks to the quick response of the local farming community and civilian safety structures, 6 suspects were arrested. However, something else accompanied the publication of this real-life horror story that made my stomach turn, my blood pound in my temples, and my appetite disappear. Denial. Sick, disgusting denial from people who call these poor victims liars before the blood on their farmhouse floor was even dry. The same phenomenon of farm murder denialism has begun to rear its head once again in the past few months since the Trump administration once again brought attention to this issue. This kind of behavior speaks to a deeper issue, a moral issue, more specifically, moral decay. Why are farm murders the only violent crime where some people believe it is acceptable and praiseworthy to simply call the victims liars? Why are farm murders the only violent crime that journalists joke about on social media? For example, Daily Maverick editor-at-large Richard Poplak mockingly asked on social media in 2023, what wine pairs best with white genocide? Why are farmers the only violent crime where those who raise awareness are insulted, mocked, and slandered? Why are farm murders the only violent crime where insane levels of evidence are demanded? Why are farm murders the only violent crime that is encouraged and romanticized by politicians through chants like "Kill the Boer"? When President Cyril Ramaphosa was urged to condemn the hateful "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer" chant in 2025 after Julius Malema did it on Human Rights Day, his spokesperson confirmed with a cold response that the president will not. This refusal to condemn "Kill the Boer" by the South African president shows that he gives his tacit approval to calls for violence against Afrikaners, farmers, and other targeted minorities. Why are farm murders the only violent crime phenomenon where the immediate knee-jerk reaction of some is to hastily try to silence those who care about the issue by citing South Africa's general murder statistics like a mantra? No one reminds anti-rhino poaching activists that out of the total number of animals that die each year, rhinos are a tiny percentage. No one will look a person who cares deeply about gender-based violence in the eye and tell them that their cause is invalid because the vast majority of murder victims are men. Farm murders are also the only violent crime of a unique nature that the government refuses to classify under national priority crimes, crimes that are given a specialized counter-strategy as set out by the Police Act. Rhino poaching, gang violence, and gender-based violence are examples of priority crimes. Why are farm murders the only violent crime phenomenon where journalists go out of their way to try and destroy the lives of those private citizens who dare try to bring international awareness to this issue online? Finally, farm murders are the only violent crime phenomenon openly denied by the President of South Africa. In 2018, President Ramaphosa said on an international stage, there are no murders of white farmers in South Africa. This blatant lie has never been retracted. Imagine a South African president declaring to the world on an international stage that there is no gender-based violence or political assassinations taking place in his country. Would they get away with it without consequence? Would the media cover for him, as Pieter de Tooy of News 24 did at the time? The only logical explanation for all of the above questions is that many people have become victims of moral decay, a type of moral decay that is tolerated and excused. I grew up in a farming community. Most of my friends came from farms, which meant that I spent a lot of time on farms as a child. I was exposed to farming from a very young age. As Dirk Herman has written, many of them may not live on farms, but there is a piece of farm in every Afrikaner. Dr. Vickers Buys says there is a reason why English speakers speak often of a backyard, while Afrikaners have an agterplaas, a back farm. Our culture is so intertwined with farming that we are collectively known as the Boers. Afrikaners who do not farm themselves have family that farm. If they don't have family that farm, they have friends that do. There is therefore an inherent reason why the issue of farm murders is so close to the hearts of Afrikaners. Today my Afrikaner heart bleeds once again for our farmers, and I pray for their safety. However, I also pray for those who have become so cold and heartless. I pray that God will restore their broken moral compasses. N.P. van Wyk Louw, the Afrikaner philosopher, was right when he wrote, "Indeed, the dark forces of selfishness, stupidity, unreasonableness are stronger in man than reason." Organizations like AfriForum will continue to fight despite the monsters we encounter. We are not discouraged, not even close. And you can support us in our fight by becoming a member by clicking the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers, guys. Have a good one, and God bless.